at you and not understand anything. And you're going to fall back and have no reason to believe in Him. When you actually have reason, you're going to have biblical truth, you're going to have God-filled purposes, and God coming towards you with His full-on power. He's one, like when I was in India, they gave us so many different testimonies. He made me feel like that one kid that grew up in church. Because these people over in India grew up not believing in God and were raised physically from the dead. I kid you not. I cannot tell you how many stories where people were proclaimed dead for at least 3 days I heard while I was there. 3 days. Decay, everything. So as I was there, we were talking to people, we're hearing missions and everything, and the main guy who actually started the entire foundation, who is not currently here anymore, but back in 1960s, there is a complete difference, even still today, of North and South India. North is completely hated towards Christians because everything in India is religious. Your life is religion. Praise God that Christianity is now a religion because Jesus came back to ruin that in the Old Testament. I pray to God for India so much because in India I can literally paint a rock like orange or something and people will flood it, cutting themselves to worship that God. So if I was a teenager and I just wanted to be a punk and just like paint an entire wall orange, people would flood and worship this wall. That is what religion is over there. Women aren't allowed, even Christians aren't really quite allowed to wear anything other than maybe like a dress because they won't be considered as a woman. Think about that. Now, back in the 1960s, this man, he was from the South, where Christianity is pretty much kind of relevant. He grew up in a church with his parents, and he was called to move to the North, where in India there's over 300 different languages, where this is a completely different mindset, everything, culture, everything, that he is moving to, that God told him to move to with his wife. He moved up there and lived in a shack. He handed out flyers, he went out and everything, which now this place, as of today, is a little school with a huge church and a huge Bible college in the North, where people and Hindu leaders have come and told him to take down this big red cross. And then he's like, all right, once they're gone, let's put up a twice the big one. Because it was bad for their sight at their hotel. Now, before I do this whole thing, I'm not going to tell you later on about how I went on a camel or how I went to the most finest, most expensive and #1 massage places in the world, or where I saw 007 made a video there. I'm not going to tell you about any of that. But what I am going to tell you is this story is where he moved up there, he made it this whole entire foundation, and when he used to walk to a building 2 hours away. He would have to cross an area where there was technically native Indians, which is really weird to say, and they would literally kill drivers. They would literally take a spear or something, a rock, and just shoot down the driver. They still do that today. You are not allowed to leave at night on this highway because they will plunder that vehicle. Now, they would literally travel day and night to this little room where it's about from this window to about the back wall would fit an orphanage, a tiny church where at least 40 people went to, and then also a chicken house so that the orphanage can have some eggs and everything to eat, or they have no food. When they would walk there day and night, him and 4 other men, God told them, go to this other state, go to this other state. They had no idea what the state was called. God just said, go to this other state. So they pulled out a map and bada bing, bada boom, it was there. And so they brought it up in their small group and saying, hey, we believe that God's telling me to go to this other place. So this woman instantly got up and said, I knew you were going to say that because God told me in a dream last night that you and you and you and you are planning to go to another state, and so I brought these offering plates. And a group of 12, about the size of my class, which is very small, but they gathered enough money, and more than enough money, to get him on these buses that literally have over 100 people on them. Like the city buses here, over 100 people sitting on top, standing on the sides. 2 hours. Now, and so she said, take this offering and go. Because this is what God's calling you to do. So, and while you're there, we will keep taking an offering once a week for you and your other men to live. So, they take the bus, they get there and everything, and they're like, well, I don't know where to go. We don't know anybody here. So they start walking down the highway, and when Indians are tired, they like to put things on their head. I don't understand that logic, but, it just hurt my neck. But I'm not used to that. But when they started walking down this highway, they got really tired, so they put the suitcases on their heads. So just like an action-packed movie, a guy just came off the highway at high speed, drifted on kind of in front of them, got out of the car and said something in Hindu. I don't know how they would say it, but they said, Pastor Paul, Pastor Paul, Pastor Paul, Pastor Paul, get in the car. I need to take you home with me. And the guy's like, look, I don't know you. He was like, I don't know you. Why would I go into your car? And he said, because God gave me a dream that I was supposed to pick up 5 men with suitcases on their heads that I would pass on the highway. And he gave me your name. And I'm supposed to take you home and take care of you and nurture you. And you will stay there so you can pray so that you can bring revelation in this state. Because that man who was in that Jeep was the only Christian that lived there in that state and the 4 states around it. Talk about movement. Now, people, this place of India has so much reason to actually have faith, because if you are a Christian, your family denounces you. They'd rather have you dead. Okay? So you're not just giving up your life as a Hindu or anything like that. You're losing family, everyone that you actually love. Now think, this woman. Now I'm going to tell you about a story about his wife. She went to another place where where those Indian natives would live, and she would stay there day and night. Well, just by the presence of God, and Hindus knew that it was the presence of God there, they hated it. They didn't see her in the building on which one she was in, but they were still trying to storm raid that house and try to kill her. Just because of it. Even though that they still believed in Jesus, because they believe in every single God. But because it was God's presence, they wanted to kill her. So now this has caused me to have a whole other aspect about other people's beliefs, and especially on Muslims. Because Muslims helped out the Christians so much down there, it is ridiculous. There would be no movement of Christianity if it wasn't for the Muslims. When she was fleeing and running from them throughout the city, a Muslim couple hid her in their goat shed and said, no, she's not here. Leave. As they kept trying to get into her house. In their house. They did that year after year, month after month. And protected her until they now have a full-on school, and the community there actually is starting to trust them. Where now they are also the best school in that area. Now, I believe that believing in God, you need a reason. Not because I got to do so many great things with God. That doesn't matter. The reason why you need a reason is because God made you for a reason. It doesn't matter on how big or small, no matter on how this church has spread out so wide to reach out to all these people or anything. It depends on what you can do in your own community. It depends on what you do in no matter area you go to. If I go from here to Wisconsin, or if I go here to India, if I go here to Tijuana, it doesn't matter. God put you there as you were here, placed here for a reason to even possibly hear me. It's a small group compared to the last one, and I thought, wow, this is real small compared to the last one. But then God said, no, it's the people that need to hear it. So as I say to you, have reason, or you have nothing. And with God, if you have reason, literally everything with Him will make sense. And He will never fail you. So I just want to pray over India, because I knew Steve was going to ask that. Before you do that. So, dear God, I just want to pray over India right now. I just pray that everybody will be able to open up their minds more to Christianity, at least, oh God. I just pray that you'll be able to make powerful movements as you have, and I pray that over Pastor Paul Jr., who is now the leader, will be able to be over blessed as if he already is And I pray that you'll be able to make him succeed more with even media. He's trying to make a movement, also be a technical leader, and not be stuck in a rut where religion holds people back. I pray that you'll be able to cause a movement within culture and religious and equality. And I pray that as people here today heard this message will realize that you are a reason to believe and live and die for.